ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. The Sanatana Dharma has been there ever since its creation started and ever since this our culture has started. And important aspect is that we also say that yoga is a way of life. That means basically that Sanatana Dharma and yoga must have been blended together. And Sanatana Dharma means all those Upanishads, philosophy, and all those things what we are talking about. That means they must have been blended throughout the culture, hand in hand. But unfortunately, what happened somewhere over the period of time, the whole of yoga is reduced to doing some physical postures and some degree of meditation.
Just sorry to interrupt. Does the Veda carry the word yoga?
Yes. In fact, I gave you the definition of yoga from the Vedas. Tam yogamiti manyante sthiram indriya dharanam. It is a Veda actually. Similarly, the ideas of yoga is there in the Veda. And so this part of the Vedas and all these things were there. And it's a way of life. Now, what happened was that out of this way of life, there were three different types of yoga, which was there right from the beginning. One is the knowledge aspect of it, and that's what is Jnana Yoga. The second thing is that the Karma Yoga, the Karma Kanda was there. And third is the Bhakti movement, the devotion aspect of it. Raj Yoga was never a part of it. It was something which was being practiced in the normal day-to-day life by people and all those things. Some asanas and pranayama, these are the things that were there. Only thing is that when Patanjali has given us this yoga, he mentioned Ashtanga Yoga. So that's where it started. Even in Bhagavad Gita, you don't find very categorically about the mention of Raj Yoga. Says Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. That is what he says. But then for later on it became Raj Yoga. There also Patanjali uses 2 sutras or 3 sutras for asanas. And what happened was that in order to practice the Raja Yoga, which is at least Patanjali has given, that is Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, in order to go to that journey, that some people who are there in the Himalayas, foothills of Himalayas, particularly Nepal area, they used to suffer from injuries. So therefore, the local Swamijis in the Natha Parampara, they had evolved certain techniques to see that how they can overcome the back pain, this pain, that pain, like that. So by doing this posture, Vrishikasana, you get this, you get that. This is the description that is there. And these postures that are there, asanas, have become then Hatha Yoga. Because he has written Hatha Yoga Pradipika, there Hatha means not by force, not by. Hatha Yoga means basically it is something connected with a proper breathing associated with the posture that you do it. So that what happens, it relieves. There also very clearly, Swatmarama says that these asanas, this asana it describes about that, say good for back pain, good for stomach disorders. These are the three important things that people suffer from in Himalayas. They don't have proper food. It's all the food from plains it is there, in Himalayas it is not there. So one thing is the gastric problems. The second thing they used to have is the joint problems. And third is the issues with the muscles. So therefore that they said this is what is very good for your back. These are the practices good for your stomach, like mentioned here. But then later on, this practice of yoga asanas became so elaborate. What they have given a few things that it has been multiplied. So 84 asanas, then more than that, about 150 asanas, and 500 asanas. I come across a book where 500 asanas were there. So this is how it went on multiplying. And especially in the West, people were so much oriented towards the physical level. So therefore, whenever teachers or yogis went there, they appreciated these postures. So therefore, when it went to the West, it became more like a physical practices. And therefore, that they very clearly they would have given asanas and physical exercises. This was clubbed. So, but some people realize that it is not just only at the body level. So some breath activities like pranayama, they were included. But they have completely separated it from the Vedanta philosophy in such a way that even our Vedantins in India, they said that yoga is not for me, I am for Vedanta. I am for Advaita philosophy, not for yoga and all that. So this is how essentially that a gulf has happened between these two. Whereas when you look at Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yat Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. Whatever that is that as a result that you go from Sankhya, the same thing yoga will also take you to. And not only that, he says, यत् सांख्यै प्राप्यते स्थानं तद्योगैरपि गम्यते एकं सांख्यं च yogam cha यः pashyati sa pashyati. If you rightly understand that these two are going to take you to the same goal, such an explanation, such understanding is the right understanding. But unfortunately, what happened, the gulf has taken place. In fact, when I was growing in my childhood days also, that I was interested in, you know, meditation, going to is what is that spiritual journey and all that. That was my yearning, and I was going behind it. At that time, um, I also felt that asanas are separate. Asanas are not for yoga. And there was some reason also why it happened like that, because the moment we see spiritual journey or spirituality, immediately associated with the values. That means a person is expected to have certain values, certain disciplines, compared to ordinary person, they must have extraordinary disciplines. All these things were common for that. But unfortunately, what happened was that when I was in the probably in the middle school or something like that, one yogi came to our school, supposed to be a yogi, famous yogi, and he presented yoga postures. In about an hour, he has done all the acrobatic postures. I mean, as a child, I was a sportsman, so I used to practice all these things. Almost like 80% of them, I used to do it. Some more things he added for me. That was okay. But that, for me, more of a physical practice than anything to do with yoga, anything to do with spiritual journey. Oh, then the impression that I had was yoga means only this thing. So that is what I thought. And then he gave nice, wonderful performance. Nice, everybody's seen it. Afterwards, we had one more class or two more classes. Then we came out. When I came out, that in the same street when I'm walking, and this person, Yogi Rao, he finished his performance and all that. He came out, and there were some street ladies and all that sitting there. He was sitting with them and having some beer or cigarette or something. When I saw that, I said, it's all right. I mean, I have nothing to comment about him. He's like that. But then after that, when one day Shastriji brought him home and he was learning yoga, that put me off. I said, what is this? Because he doesn't have any values in life. And then such a person is supposed to be yogi. So I also kept yoga practices purely physical and purely for the sake of if you want to really make your body flexible, you can do that. And as an athlete, we require that. So we were doing all those things. But only when Shastriji told me that these are all for the same purpose, then later on various things have happened. Then I started looking at yoga. Then I looked into Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I looked into the Hatha Yoga Pratipika. Then I understood where the drift has taken place. And who has given that problem? Who has created it? Our own people have created the problem. Our yogis went outside and said that this is what to do. And the people who are doing the physical practices, they gave that yoga means all these physical practices. But then there is another set of people who went there to the West. They gave meditation as yoga practice. So there were so many varieties of meditation, mushrooms. Like TM started, CM started, this M started, everything started like that, went on like that. As if meditation is separate, yoga asanas is separate, and then spiritual journey is separate. It was like that. But when you, and in fact, people suppressed that information also to a great extent. Like Vivekananda, when he went in 1893, after the Parliament of Religion is over, then he was there for almost like 4 years in USA. In 4 years, he was actually conducting yoga classes, asana classes. There are a couple of students who were there under him as yoga students. And there's one person, I forgot the name. There is an American, he was a student. And he published a poster where he gives all the postures and all that. And he said below that he has written he is the disciple of Vivekananda. All that was there. But then it was not publicized this way that yogasanas for this purpose. It was just only some yoga is given for health purposes that was given. So this way that these two are separated. Then what happens is that yoga was a way of life. Then they said that you bring in some asana, bring in some pranayama, so that it becomes part of your way of life. So, therefore, essentially, what happened was that this yoga practices then started introducing yoga practices day-to-day life. That means you do 1 hour of yoga practice. That's a way yoga practice in your day-to-day life. It keeps take care of your health. Even today, people talk about that. But unfortunately, what happened is it was not practice, it was way of life. So then we need to understand it from as a point of way of life. When you look at way of life, what is the most important aspect is that one thing is, of course, your understanding about the world outside, your values in the world outside, you can correct it with the help of yoga, jnana yoga. This is what is given by Mandukya Upanishad very clearly. It says that there are two problems created in your intellect. One is called as that you have, one thing is called as that you have forgotten your nature. You have forgotten that your nature is bliss, ananda, your nature is freedom, your nature is Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, they say that. But this particular idea, Aham Brahmasmi, remained as only intellectual phrase, but not in the experience in the day-to-day life. Then what happened? This is one thing. Second thing is identifying what is not you. It became very strong. That means I'm body and I'm this thing. But the moment it comes to my body, then yoga means that what kind of food I take, what kind of people I interact. So these things became important. So one is called as ignorance about you. Second thing is wrong conclusion about you. Identification with. So these are the things. Identification is something what is basically superimposed on you. Like for example, I am what I am. In fact, even my name is superimposed on me. I'm not my name. Shastras say that. And I took one form. And that too, this superimposed on me is something like that. I'm limited. I'm not limited, I'm unlimited. But only thing is that one simple individualization, and that is limited, that is what. But otherwise, I'm continuous. And this is so therefore, this is a wrong notion about that. And second thing is that you wrongly identify. Then identifies that this body take care of this, take care of this medication. So these are all the things that were given. Such a pathetic way that it has been reduced that I heard some people even saying that every day half an hour meditation, dude, you are wonderful. How the whole thing is reduced. Patanjali has given us the Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. And then it says that now you have to be established that Trayamekatra Samyamaha. And then he goes whole 2 chapters after that Samyama, the third and fourth chapter. And all that is forgotten about that, all the details is forgotten. So this is where basically that whole misleading has taken place. This is as far as yoga is concerned. But in the day-to-day life, if I have to do that, that means my every activity has to become yoga. And that's what Krishna suggested very clearly in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Yogastaha Kuru Karmani. Do the activity in a yoga way, and is the chief of the army. Chief of the army, the work that he has is to fight the war. And Krishna is suggesting in the war field, if the war can be fought in a yoga way, life can be lived in a yoga way. So if I can bring in yoga concept when I'm killing somebody or somebody is attacking me, Either way that Krishna gives us a suggestion. When you kill somebody also, or when you are attacking, being attacked, you say that Nainam Chinjanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka, Achainam Kledayan. Have this attitude behind you and then do the activity.
Even the
That means,
butcher can be a yogi.
such a person is a yogi. That means you are killing, but you are not killing. The person is already dead. I killed him anyway. And then it's only the body that goes. Whatever that can be killed is not him. So this way, Krishna said whole of Bhagavad Gita and put that Arjuna into the practice of all those things. So that means it's supposed to be something which can be adapted in the day-to-day life. So what is that we need to adapt in the day-to-day life? This aspect of yoga, this aspect of truth, true nature of us, that's what is karma yoga. So in the day-to-day activities, whatever that we bring about is the karma yoga. So therefore, in my view, that the whole of and when can you adapt this karma yoga? Essentially in the grahastha. So grahastha is a long platform for you. See that you adapt this karma yoga aspect of it. So whatever the role that you are playing, and then every role that you play has the karma yoga aspect of it. So therefore, essentially that we need to do, see karma yoga elaborately in the case of grahastha. And the whole, as I said, that the whole setup of ashramas is in such a way that you spiritually grow. That is the idea. Otherwise, that uh, this ashrama culture has come to this country, this culture, because basically that we grow in spiritual direction. Anything is in the spiritual direction only. So then what happens is whatever that is involved in the Grahastha ashrama also should be going in that way, spiritual way. So that is the basic idea of Karma Yoga aspect of it. Now, but the activities, you have to do the activities, and particularly Grahastha is the one who has to do all the activities. And again, that activities, once again, we said that karma has been divided into 4 different categories: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So, Brahmana does his activities in a yoga way, Kshatriya does his activities in a yoga way, Vaishya can do the activities in yoga way, and Shudra can do activities in a yoga way. All these people are the different category of people in the nature, in the culture itself. So, there are ways that are given to them in the karma yoga way. And therefore, essentially, that Karma Yoga becomes an important aspect in the whole of Sanatana Dharma, particularly in the Grahastha. Now, one very important point about yoga is yoga means joining together. So that means you create a harmony. So many activities that I do, I should be able to see that I create that harmony. The vertical that they have provided in the form of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is to create a harmony between various lines of various attitudes and various activities blending together. It's not to separate them together. That harmony is the essential nature of the whole creation itself. But unfortunately, what happened, this aspect has been missed by the people. I said that, I can't have harmony in our family because basically we are two poles apart. Husband and wife, we are poles apart. I said, look at the way that the very answer that he had given as an answer, because you look at a magnet, North Pole and South Pole are together in the magnet. You cut that into 2 pieces, again North Pole and South Pole, that's it. Similarly, look at the nature, day and night are together. You can't separate them out. That itself
Your nature
is the nature. Actually, essential is the reality. Reality is the essence of the creation itself.
We keep seeing, hearing that, we are so poles apart.
We're poles apart. We are poles apart this way, as if it's a complaint. I say, congratulations, you're poles apart. It's so nice to hear about that. How we can blend together. I mean, when they say also, they don't even think what they're talking about. How simple it is. So this way, essentially, the whole idea is to see that how to create that harmony. And one very important thing, if I have to create harmony, that means to say, minus, I have to surrender. Therefore, what happens is that we can blend. If I hold myself very strict, Today I was just counseling somebody. One lady is saying that my husband is like this, my husband is like that. You know, he's just he can't agree with that. I said, not only your husband, every husband is like that.
How did
Now?
she respond to that?
No, Raghuram.
No, my husband is.
My husband, your husband is great, Amma. See, that's why he is very bad. So otherwise, every husband is like that only. Your husband is extraordinary. So he gives more opportunity for you to do the sadhana. Spiritual sadhana. You can really grow with that. In fact, that's what I often quote this Socrates student is getting married. And the Socrates blesses him. All the best. And then the other student was there. He said, see, your life is like this. Socrates, wife is so against him. She threw water, dirty water on him, and she abused him. All that thing she was doing it. And she shouted, actually one day, she shouted the top of her voice. After that, she put the dirty water on him. She just brushed his head. He said, yeah, after the thunder, there'll be rain. Socrates said. So that means I'm not surprised because after the thunder, there'll be rain. It has come. Then he asked, see, all these things happen to you like this. How can you bless your student that happy married life? It's very simple. What is that? If happy married life he had, he will enjoy his life. His wife is like my wife, then he'll become Socrates. He'll become Socrates. So what? So simple. So this way, essentially, that a lot of an opportunity for you to blend together. So important in the Grasta life. If you do not do that, you cannot create a Grasta. For that, how many? So therefore, it is not with the work that you do it, attitude behind the activity. So therefore, every karma has two components. One is the karma per se and the attitude. The whole of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about is the change of an attitude. The whole of Upanishad literature that you see, or the whole of Puranas that you see, is a change of attitude. How many stories are there that they just adapt themselves to the change of attitude that is there? So beautiful.
You tell about Vishwamitra.
Yeah. One beautiful example is that, Krishna and what's that, Satyabhama. Satyabhama says, I want to win Krishna and all that. He says, okay, you do it. And then how about you? Simple thing is that you see, Krishna is somebody else, somewhere else. And then you do the Tulabharam. That means to say you weigh him and then so much gold you give it, so they can have Krishna. He will be your slave then. Whatever you say, he will follow it. This Narada is very great. Gives that suggestion. Satyabhama says, okay, fine. And then she does the whole thing. And after that, when Krishna is sitting on the other side in the scale, then she put all the gold, this, that, everything. But Krishna is heavy. Probably that day extra butter he has eaten, so therefore she could not match with that, whatever that is there. Then Narada is there, who is the doing this thing. I said, but what happened? Now you see that you have done all those things. Now Krishna doesn't belong to you because you did not get it. So then whoever gets it, then they will get it. Then he went out auctioning Krishna. And Krishna is also very nicely sitting there, waiting for the auction, going on and on. And then Satyabhama was behind him and all that. But afterwards, when she went to Rukmini, Rukmini was her, opponent, another wife of Krishna. She put one tulsi and then she matches Krishna. And then Satyabhama, then says, what happened? Narada says, you see, all that what is required is Shraddha. You don't have that. You want to have, you are egoistic about possessing. That's what is the thing. So, a simple solution. All these things will give us an idea that Puranas and all those things will give us to see that how you can subdue your ego. That's the idea. So, whole of Karma Yoga is the area of your Grasthashrama. So now you see, is that only men to do yoga or women to do yoga? Everybody can do yoga. If men to do one, they say that the yag puja and all those things. Only men can do it. Women cannot do it. No, there is nothing like that. In fact, people ask me, women cannot even chant Omkara. All these questions. Well, these questions become irrelevant once you understand the philosophy behind it. All right, and he will do something. There's so many houses that men are doing some, Rudra Chamaka and all that. Women help them to see that all the necessary arrangements are made. That is the sadhana. So Grihasthashrama is essentially the place of sadhana, of what kind of yoga? It is the karma yoga sadhana that is there. In fact, how many stories are there to show that Grihasthashrama doing the Grihastha activities are so sacred than the spiritual activities, so-called spiritual activities. We have the beautiful story of Kaushik, that he was doing meditating in the forest. Kaushik was meditating in the forest, and then suddenly some birds were making noise on the tree. And then look at the birds, angry because the birds disturbed his meditation. Looked at the bird fell down dead by very looking at it. He felt very sad, the birds died. But on the other hand, he was also surprised that his meditation has given a power to him. He can burn a bird. Wow, so meditation, he got a clue, he got an idea that his meditation is successful, is growing. But then anyway, meditation got disturbed. Then he was feeling hungry. Then he came to some house and he said, Bhavate Bhikshandehi. The lady, she was about to give him Bhiksha, and then she comes with the Bhiksha. And when she comes with Bhiksha, by that time she comes there and said, please be seated, wait for a moment, that I will get the Bhiksha. She went inside. Meanwhile, husband walked in. When husband walked in, then she came back and said to Sannyasi, Kaushik, can you please wait? Because husband has just walked in. As a housewife, I'll take care of him, basic needs and all that. Takes about 5-10 minutes. Then I will come and take care of him. Please pardon me. This man became little arrogant and then feeling very bad. After all, I am such a yogi, big yogi sitting here. Who is that husband fellow? Cheap fellow. And then she wants to take care of him before she comes to me. But anyway, he had one excuse for that, saying that she does not know what is my power. Because he's so powerful a yogi, she doesn't know about that. It's all right, I can excuse her. But she said about 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. He is waiting, he is waiting. Kaushik is waiting. And then half an hour later, she comes. And then says, I'm so sorry. I made you to wait for a little more longer. I did not expect. Husband wanted few things, they took care of it. Now I can take care of you. Please come inside, wash your feet and all that. I serve you food. But this fellow is angry. And anger does not come down. He is just stubborn like that. The lady said, I'm so sorry. It's not in my control. Please forgive me. I will take care of you. But then his anger did not come down. When she pleaded also. Now she just laughs. She says, please, uh, come on, give up your anger. Come inside and have food. I'm not the bird to be burned by your anger. Wow, that was a shock for him. Because this happened in the forest. Only he and bird knew it. And the bird is also dead now. And this lady knew about it. Oh, at once he fell at her feet. I said, how did you know about it? I don't know anything about it. What kind of sadhana you do? What meditation? What mantra? I said, Baba, I don't do any mantra, sadhana. I just take care of my husband, my household, my house. I take care of it. Showing that such an important thing about that. No, I can't believe you. You say you are hiding from me. You must be doing some yaga, yantra, mantra. I said, Papa, nothing. If you want to really know more than that, my teacher is there in the next village, and his name is Dharma. Just go there, find out from him. Now immediately he goes there. And when he goes there in the village, he asked where, you go to the center of the village that you find out his name is there, written big. He goes there, looks around, where is the sage, saint, Guru, Brahm, Guru, big name and all that. Shila, Guru, all these things, and Dharma Vyadha. She didn't find any board. He didn't find any board. All that he found out was one board, saying that Dharma Vyata meat shop, meat selling shop. Then, no, it may not be this meat seller because I'm looking for a guru, not a butcher. Then he asked, somebody in the village, uh, who is Dharma Vyatha? He says, that board can you not see that? Dharma Vyatha, that's his place. Meanwhile, Dharma Vyatha there, he also looks at, hey, come on, young man. Kaushik goes there. That lady sent for me. Arey, how do you know about it? That lady sent, she sent me to me. I'm the Dharma Vyata you're looking for. Please come and sit down here. Let me finish my business and then close the shop and then we'll go. All that really didn't feel like, what is this happening? Then he does, the shop rigorously, bargaining everything and all. After he closes the shop, come, let's go home. Takes him home. Once they go home, then this Dharma Vyasa takes care of his aged parents. After all those things, then he comes to him. He says, yes, my dear Kaushik, what can I do for you? He said, please, you don't have to do anything. Already you spoiled my whole brain now. What is all this? I can't believe it. Said the simple message is that the activities that you do in the world, with that precision, with that goodness, that's what is sadhana. It gives you everything. You don't have to do meditation, you have to do all these things. That's what is the idea. So therefore, what happens is that grihasthashrama, we can convert every activity into dharma sadhana. In fact, that is why it is said that the life that is there in the grihasthashrama is for the sake of dharma sadhana. Now you see how important it is. If it has to be important for that dharma sadhana, then I should establish the family in such a way that it itself is harmonious, stable, and it's like a platform on which I can proceed further. And who has to plan that particular thing? We do it in the form. That's why the first step that is there in the Grihasthashrama is supposed to be such an extraordinary, wonderful thing. That's what is supposed to be the samskara called as the marriage, vivaha samskara. Look at the kind of people that we invoke in the vivaha samskara. Sita Ramabhyam Namaha, Vani Purandarabhyam Namaha. So that means to say, this Grihasthashrama is blessed by such great people, such great saints. In what way I can degrade this Grihasthashrama? Just because I'm interested in sannyasa, I should not degrade the Grihasthashrama. Unfortunately, over a period of time, it is painted in such a way that Grihastha is like an apology, like a curse, is that it's a guilt kind of a trip. It's not a guilt trip. In fact, Shastras say that one thing is that we say the Brahman is supposed to be Sachit Ananda. Ananda experience has to be there. And where do you get the experience of Ananda? In fact, that's what the Shastras say that, in fact, to give that experience of Ananda itself, that Brahman has become two. Annavan Annato Bhavati, hunger and food, the separation of Brahman has taken place so that where the food is given to the hunger, the satisfaction that you get, that's supposed to be Brahmananda. Yes, it's a small little part of Brahmananda, but then that's a little experience that you have. So like that, all our experiences in the Grihasthashrama are the Brahmananda part of it. Brahmananda Matramnanu, is it not? That's what Shastra says. Is it not the part of Brahmananda? Like, for example, whatever that wakeful state that we have, is it not the same part of the wakefulness that we have? That means to say this Sthita Prajna. Prajna, a part of it, Prajna, is that what we have. But it's also Prajna. It's not separate from that. Unfortunately, what happened that people separated this out. This Ananda is separate, that Ananda is separate. If you have to have the experience of Ananda, really, Grihasthashrama is the place. Sadhana Grihasthashrama is the place. Experience of Ananda Grihasthashrama is the place. Of all the Anandas that you have, types of Ananda, that means sensory organ in contact with the sensory object that you have, the highest Ananda that we have materialistic Ananda, or in the material world that you have Ananda, not only human being, every species, the highest Ananda is sexual Ananda. And they have glorified the sexual Ananda in the Vedanta. They have not put it down. Priya Striya Parishvaktaha Nabahyam Kanchana Vedanantaram Kanchana Vedana. These are the kind of mantras that they are used in such a way that when this activity of sexual activity taken place, the Anamayaha Anandaha, that means the Anubhuti. Anubhuti of that extraordinary nature, you get it. Nowhere else that you get it. But what is the problem? It is such a glimpse of Ananda. It doesn't stay for long. In fact, that's also Shastra says. An Ananda which is very intense, short-lived. An Ananda which is not very intense, yes, it long-lives. So that's why in Grihastha Ashrama, varieties of types of Ananda is presented in front of you. But at the same time, as I said, that Ananda which is giving a highest Ananda is come with a lot of restrictions and complaints so that you don't abuse it. So that's why these Grihastha comes with all those restraint. Not only that, the experience of extraordinary Ananda will help us to commit something in our life. That's why marriage is one of the extraordinary, wonderful, positive commitment. Commitment is not because that you are bound by that. A lot of people have that. In India, that you don't have freedom, you get married. That the bondage. No, no. Actually, it's a commitment that we have. Not only as even in Rama's case. That's why we take the example of Rama. That Sita Rama Bhyanama. It's a very. I don't know. Last time did I share with you the story of Rama, because I give so many talks like Rama didn't have an idea of marriage. He went only for the sake of saving the yajna of Vishwamitra. And he finishes all that. And then after that, Vishwamitra says, why not we go to the case of Janaka, who is having the Swayamvara there. And then, okay, let's go Rama and Lakshmana, they go. When they go into the village, all the village has been completely decorated and all the arrangements, hustle bustle is there. And they're also walking. When they're walking, some people notice that, such a great Rishi, Vishwamitra, and there are two young boys going with them in the Rishi Vesha. Actually, they have got Jata, Juta, and all those things. But then the Tejas is like Chhatra Tejas. Wow, extraordinary young fellows that they're walking. And then the message went around into the palace also. And then it will reach Sita, because she was supposed to be the Kanya, Yajna Kanya. So therefore, there are two young people they came with Vishwamitra. They're so bright, Shatra Tejas and all that. So she also came along with that, running into the balcony. In the balcony, she looks at Rama and Lakshmana there. Rama also looked at her. The beautiful expression that is, Rama, when he looked at her, various other girls are there, and then she was also there, said, she must be Sita. See, that means if she had touched his heart, it must be Sita. And see, with all those things, everything, and then she was also really surprised looking at Rama. And maybe she has got in her mind this idea, he should be the prince that tomorrow he wins. Wish. And then next day, all these princes have come, and then Vishwamitra says, why don't you also do it? Rama takes the bow, and then that the whole thing fell down. When it fell down, then immediately she was also happy, Janaka was happy, such a wonderful person and all that, and said that, come on, Swayamvara, she will put the garland. Rama said, no. Rama said, no. Said, why? I have not come for wedding here. My guru asked me to come here, I came here. Guru asked me to try this, I tried. That's all. My wedding, my father has to decide. She sent a message to father. See, that means with all those things is disciplined. And then Janaka sends message, Dasharatha, along with Vasishta, they come. And then Vasishta on this side, Shatananda on the other side. These are the two great sages. and they gave the proposal, and then they had to give the proposal. While giving the proposal, then Vasishta reads out all the ancient people from Rama's side. Said, now this Rama belongs to this kind of lineage. Shatananda also said, can't keep quiet. So he gave the whole lot of lineage of Janaka and said, Janaki is like that. Then, okay, we get married. See, parents approval, then the marriage takes place. So that means Sanyama is something which is very, in spite of all those things, everything that happened, first thing Rama says to Sita, I promise you that I will not have another wife. Because Rama is the son of three wives. His father had three wives. So three mothers. Therefore, no, he will have only one wife, that is Sita. Greatest assurance one can give. Kshatriya Dharma. So that all that. And that is used later on when Sita had a doubt whether Rama has married again. So all that thing shows that how much is the discipline that is involved in that. So it's all for the sake of seeing that a stable unit in the society that we create. Extraordinary, wonderful, stable society that you create. If this unit is strong, stable, as unit like Grahastha and that society will be strong. That society will be undaunted. That is the idea. So the sadhana is there in the right from the beginning of wedding itself. Then what happens is that the extraordinary experience of happiness that you have has been carried on by not only in the case of marriage by conjugal happiness that you get, but we have given that opportunity to enjoy the things in the case of various festivities. Life is full of festivities, but then there's a lot of meaning behind it. We'll talk about it. But this is how essentially that they have adapted this. Grihastha is a place for a very deep, insightful spiritual sadhana. Every activity that you in Grihastha is a sadhana. So that's why Grihastha is given a responsibility that is, somebody is learning the spiritual knowledge, you provide shelter for them. That's why when the brahmachari comes to the house bhiksha, you have to provide the bhiksha for them. Anybody who comes in that way, you have to give them bhiksha for them. We cannot deny that. Ya kaya cha vidayat bhavannam prapniyat tad vratam. That means to you should prepare the cooked food, offer it to the people, whoever is hungry, you take care of him. This is a very important practice in the Grihastha giving. I have given that example while Dharma, we are talking about how Dharma that you give. And that is where I also gave the example of Vivekananda and Niranjanananda. They were traveling in Paudi, a very sweet story. And then Vivekananda sitting there on the rock and they didn't have food. Went to the house, some places they said no food. And then they're hungry, sitting there, what to do? Sun is there on the top of head. And then suddenly a newspaper came. Vivekananda looked at newspaper. There is a news item called as the Parliament of World Religion is being organized by America. This is for this, he said. Hey, stop all this nonsense. Get us food first. We don't even have food to survive. Niranjana said. Then okay, let's go. Let's go to that house. Went to a house. And then Bhiksha Day. Man was there. He came out and said, there is no Bhiksha, there is no food. We had our dinner, we had our lunch, so there is no food. Then Vivekananda said, there is no food, we are sannyasis. Why don't you cook the food and then offer it to us? There's nothing in the house to cook the food. Now Niranjan looks at Naren, that tell me what to do now. Then Naren says, okay, I'll wait here. You go inside and see whether anything is there or not. Because he says nothing is there. Then goes there and comes back. No, yeah, atta is there, vegetables are there, something is there. Then he said, one thing, you stand here. Let me go and prepare food. Vivekananda is a very good cook. So he said, I will prepare food. Meanwhile, this owner was panicking. I said, oh, these people, what is this? They're cooking the food and eating and all that. So he went to the village. And the elders there, he complained that some dacoits in my house and all that, they, things taking out. So all of them came with the stuff, and then they saw Niranjananda. Niranjananda is a 6 feet 4 inches fellow, tall fellow, holding the staff. Said, what happened? He said, we are sannyasins, Ramakrishna's disciples. And then we came here, we are hungry. We asked him to give food. He said, no food. And then, all right, you can prepare the food and give it. So we are preparing the food and having food, and then we are going. Villagers shouted at the owner saying that they asked for food and you can't serve them, sannyasins. What kind of culture that you have? So that to serve the people is something which is part of our culture. Grasta is supposed to do these things. So therefore, when we have read in the school, in the Snatakotsav mantra, that means Gurukul, he says that yeah, whoever comes, that give them food. Yakacha Dvetha, Bhavanam Prapnyat, Tadvratam, Maturdevo Bha, like that, Atiti Devo Bha, you said that. When you have to do these things, when you read that in the Upanishad mantras, should you not put them into the practice? And when can you put them into the practice is Grastashram. So all that what you have read in the form of Upanishad teachings and all those things in Gurukula, and they can be put into practice in the Grastashrama level. So it's wonderful opportunity for you to do that. Any number of guests that you come, you feed them. Part of our culture. Because these days people are hesitating, but otherwise, even now I think in the villages this culture is still there. It's still there because it's part of this culture. So Grihastha Ashram is a place where we do it. Now, activities, what we are doing is the activities. Only thing is the attitude behind the activities belongs to us. So that's why Krishna gives us various ideas how to change the attitude. So Karma Yoga, when we look at it, it is not the activity per se, but it is the attitude behind the thing. One of the very simple idea, that attitude about that, what Krishna gives us, a simple idea. He says is that everywhere karma is going on. The nature karma is going on. In the forest, that the trees grow and then they give fruits, and then birds are there, peacock dances, everything is there. They look at no appreciation or anything like that. When everything in the nature is doing the things, why don't you also do it? Simple thing. But we look for appreciation. We look somebody has to do that. No, just do it. The idea comes somebody has to appreciate me. I'm doing it. Comes because of the doer aspect is there within us. Whereas there is no doer aspect is for doing. That's all. It's nothing beyond that. And that's what we talked about it earlier, that Brahman itself has become these three aspects of it. One is called as Kartrutva, and that is doer. Second thing is Bhotrutva, that is experiencer. Jnatrutva, identifier. So these three things are there for doing that activity. Like for example, river flows. There is no ego behind it. The sun rises. There is no question of ego behind it. Everywhere in the nature it's going on. Karma is there, Kartru is not there. Ego of Kartru is not there. Doer Kartru is there, but not the ego of Kartru is not there. Can we also not do that? That's why we have these two terms that are there. One is called as karma and the other is kriya. Kriya is an activity. Kriya is from Kartru Bhava. Activity comes. Child is sitting, suddenly gets up and walks. Gets up and walks, that means there is Kartru behind it walking. But there is no purpose behind it, idea, nothing. Can we do like that? It's like the way asking the river or asking the ocean, why do you throw the waves? Laughs. You said, you are worried about all those things. I'm not worried about that. Waves come, it's natural. So this, can we make this karma into kriya? These are all the kriya. And karma is basically a kartru ahankara is there behind it. I do the activity. Whereas kriya is where kartru ahankara is not there. That's what is kriya. Even in your own system, how much of activity going on without the kartru being there, the doer being there? Like for example, you take the food. You select food, you do all that kind of things, and everything that you do, the up to the tongue level, the taste, everything. Afterwards, once you put it in the mouth, you gulp, then you have no entry there. Finish. The immigration officer doesn't allow you to go inside. And then the food goes on. and digestion process goes on. The whole digestion process is extraordinary activity that's going on inside, and then there's no kartru behind it. So within us itself, an activity happening without a kartru being there. Why do we have to have that kartru outside? So this is what is, when kartru is there, karma, kartru is not there, that's what is kriya. Convert every karma into kriya. This is what Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. Simple way. Actually, the problem is not with the kriya. The problem is with the kartru. I did it, then it is multiplying various ways, saying that I got the good results, not good results. I don't know why others recognize his work and not my work. All these things come because of the kartru ahankara being there. You don't have kartru ahankara. Where is the question of any of these things? The whole activity will be generally without any ego, and activity goes on. Another very important aspect that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is that if you give up the kartru bhava, do the activities happening because the activities, then only good will happen. Bad is always prompted by ego. Wrong is always prompted by ego. If you don't have ego, then you cannot do anything wrong, anything bad. It just goes on. See, children do not have ego. That's why they can't tell a lie. They always tell the truth. A small little kid is not in a mood to go to school. And often it happens here. And when he is not in a mood to go to school, he finds out all the reasons to delay it. Mother says that put on the shoe, put the right leg on the left shoe, left leg on the right shoe. No, not this. I put it right way. No, you put it this way. He argues with you. And then she wants to put it. No, I will put it. And he can't. See, is only everything is to see that how can delay. He knows the trick. When he delays, bus will come and honks at it. He's not yet ready. Dress is not proper. This is not there. So mother, this fellow is not, somehow he's not is cranky, can't. Then she shouts at the driver saying that, Arey, today you go. Bubbly is not coming to the school because his stomach is hurting. Because she has to give some reason. Because otherwise that was why stomach is. And this fellow says, no, my stomach is not hurting. He can't tell a lie. He says, chup. So they can't even tell a lie. Forget about doing anything wrong. Lie you cannot say it. So if you don't have ego, then nothing wrong can happen. It's the ego prompted that things will go wrong. That's what is the idea. So give up this ego. And that's what is, do the karma as a kriya. Convert every karma into kriya. That's what Krishna says. What karmas can I do kriya? That means some big activity that I do. Not all that big activity, even small little simple things. Don't attach your ego behind it. Pashyan, Shrunvan, Sushan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Sashan, Pralapan, Vishwajan, Grunhan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Api, Indriyani, Indriyartheshu, Vartante. Is it not so? Breathing is happening. There's no I behind it. Digestion is happening. There's no I behind it. You sleep. There's no I behind it. So many activities within us are happening without this I being there. Why do we have to bring in that I? Is there a way that I can consciously dissolve this I? And that's an extraordinary, wonderful message of the Karma Yoga in the Grihastha, because that's where you are doing a lot of activities. But then without the I, how can the activities go on? This is where we need to understand that I may not have ego, I is not there, but I carry the responsibility of ego of that particular job. This is what is the object world has its own responsibility as asmita. So this is what is the difference. Asmita of a position, I carry on. It's not that my ego, but asmita responsibility, I carry on. That way we do the activities. It's a very subtle way that Grihastha teaches us to see that how I can convert ahankara into asmita. Then once you do that, then the karma becomes karma yoga. Every activity. Now, how many different types of there? This is one aspect of it. Second aspect of it, which next class we will talk about, is that Ananda is our nature. And there is something which is disturbing our Ananda. How to get back to that state called as Ananda, which is our own nature. That's what is spiritual sadhana. That's why all the yogis are called as Ananda, because that Ananda is our own nature. So this way, how to convert that, how to make this, what is coming in the way of Ananda, we'll talk about it. We'll see the details of it next class. We'll stop it here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Any doubts, Sanathana?
Any doubts anybody has? Oh, Claudia. Thanks you, Claudia. Long time I'm seeing your name. Thank you, Raghuramji, she says.
This Pati Parameshwar aspect also came because of this attitude thing only.
What is that?
Pati Parameshwar.
Yeah, it's
right?
all
Basically, you are serving your
right.
husband in that attitude. It's not about
Right.
nowadays it's come to feminism and
Feminism.
but that was
There's
a very
nothing like
beautiful
that.
concept, I thought.
Hmm.
Somebody was saying why we say Pati Parmeshwar and why we don't say Patni Parmeshwari. Some fun, but again that ego is
In fact,
coming,
when the Patni comes to the house, Lakshmi came to our house, that is what they say it. So every house they say that Lakshmi entered into our house.
No, when we say Pati Vrata, she is put on a pedestal because she is doing the Vrata. No?
Yeah, she is actually.
She is in the pedestal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this lady you talked about, Vyada,
Right.
Gita also.
Yeah.
She was a Pativrata person who attended her husband first.
Right. And then they could, in fact, Yoga Vasishta,
Hmm.
the story of, say that Shikitvaja and what's her name? And in that, uh, he does not go to the highest experience, whereas Chudala goes into that highest experience. And because that, she is Patni. And then she goes to that experience. And then she feels that this fellow is struggling so hard. It's so easy to come up. But then why is he not coming? So she helps him. But she cannot help him also because his ego comes into the way. How can I take the help from the wife? That's why she comes like a small little boy, Brahmin boy, very nice, pleasant looking and all that. So he takes the guidance from her.
Next time you tell that story.
And then that is supposed to be Shikatvaja. I mean, she comes in the form of a boy. And then he takes the guidance and all that, he really grows. So then what happens is that now once he reached that height, then she has doubt. He really reached that height to test him. Actually, she tests him.
No.
And then she finds that he's extraordinary. The story comes. What's her name? Shikitvaja's husband. And wife's name is, just now it slipped my mind. So, story is so beautiful. Actually, the way she tests him, whether there is any element of ego, possession is there in him. For that, Chudala. So Chudala, he wants to test him. So one day it so happened that he went outside. Shikadwaja comes back, and that Chudala created a scene that she is sleeping with somebody else, some man. And Shikidwaja comes there and looks at her and says, she's in a blissful state. Let me not disturb her. He goes out. No question of ahankara there. No question of feeling that why she's sleeping with somebody else. That's not there. I mean, that's the ultimate test by a wife to a husband. There's a story in Yoga Vasishta that comes. Chudalopakhyam.
I didn't know Yoga Vasishta has stories also like this.
Sorry?
Yoga Vasishta has stories also.
Full of stories. See, what happens is Yoga Vasishta is a text where Vasishta gave teaching to Rama.
Yeah.
It must have been a very short notice, short thing. Message is short. But then what happened is that the author who has written the Yoga Vasishta, he added relevant stories from various areas to strengthen the argument. Like as I said, that ego dropped. So how ego dropped? He takes the story of Rama asked question, how did he drop the ego? Then he says Shikadwaja. Look at the story of Shikadwaja. Chudala tests him. So he adds a story. Like there so many stories are added. Then what happened is that Yoga Vasishta became bigger grantha than the original Ramayana itself. But anyway, wonderful text it is. Okay.
Raghuram, I had one question.
Yeah.
See, we know that we have to give up the doership and
We have to give
be
up?
be in the karma that you are doing and not worry about that. All of us know it so well. We are doing that manana every single day. But how come we forget that when we are doing it? Why don't we remember that exactly when we are doing it? Why is the ego overpowering us all the time?
Yeah, very simple question is that if you are a girl, you never forget that you are a girl.
Yeah.
If you're a boy, you never forget that you are a boy. Even in your dream that you are a girl only or you are a boy only. That means it's no more my experience, it becomes my being.
Oh,
So what happened with us is that many of these ideas that we get, they're still as a experience, knowledge. They have not become our being. They have to be converted into our being. See, that's why Krishna and Patanjali says in Bhagavad Gita in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, it's not telling the truth. Satya pratisthayam. It will be established in Satya. That's why it says that ahimsayam pratisthayam tatsanidau vairatyaga. Vaira does not happen when you are established in ahimsa. That pratishtha is something which is very important. Yoga, in fact, Yoga Pratishthanatva. There is one more sutra, I don't know, somewhere it comes. You have to be established in that state of yoga.
So you're saying that be more aware. You're saying the being.
It's,
like how
it's
she
not
asked
a
that
part of
why
awareness,
not,
it is you are part of being.
So what is it? How do we come into that being state? What is the steps to?
Two things. One is that sadhana. Another thing is that you have to give that value to that. See, we tell the truth, but do we really give the value to the truth? Such an extraordinary, wonderful value to the truth. I touch somebody's feet that he's elderly, he's knowledgeable, but do I really have the value in my heart? Or am I touching because that society makes me to touch or do? You see, am I doing it for the sake of custom or culture? But is it coming from the heart? I tell you, coming from the heart is so important that it's always said that you feel that feeling a guru, you feel like touching the feet of the guru. But then there is also another saying that when you touch the feet of the guru, or when you seek his blessings, then you give your life to him so that he will live your life. But then if that lady is supposed to be elder than me, then I will not, her life, it comes to me, that means my life is counted. So she was hesitating every time that she feels like touching my feet. But then she hesitated because everybody else comes and touch my feet. She comes and namaste and then she will go away. One day in one of the programs, that person who was organized, he read my biodata, my date of birth he read. I said, why is it reading date of birth? I said. But then that day she heard the date of birth. She found out that she is 2 months younger than me. Oh, that she said, she was actually a very big medical doctor working Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser is supposed to be very big. Not Raju. So then she said, that day I felt so ecstatic. And after the program, I just came and touched your feet, Raghuramji. Today I felt my heart felt I come and touch your feet. Because this is what happened. The feeling has to be there within that. So do the activity with that feeling. then it becomes more and more your being.
To start that.
Yes.
Thank you, Raghu.
Healing
Thank
comes
you.
with passion, actually. Also, with passion.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything from
That's why these three things are there. I said one thing is that you have the ability or responsibility, and that has the passion.
Is the dispassion, working with dispassion, bringing into that being state?
Yeah. The passion. See, when do I do any activity with passion? Is when activity is like my being.
But she's saying dispassion.
See, dispassion is, passion with that, when we do that, what happens is that you flow with the activity. The dispassion is not the kind of thing that is really required. Passion is what is required. Dispassion automatically happens. See, it is like the way that this is what we call it in Sanskrit. We have very beautiful kritakrutyata. I've achieved. I solved. You know, when you get the idea of you solved something, feeling. That feeling is what is called dispassion. It has to happen naturally.
If people, Vedantics always say that this dispassion, is it maybe not to be working on the outcome, but just
That is the
work with the
idea.
flow.
Probably that's the way that they
That's
think.
the way I think.
But actually, but Krishna makes it very clear. If your mind is supposed to be split, first thing it splits in karma that you do it to karma phala. That's why he says karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Because mind gets split by the karma phala. Don't look at karma phala. Dispassion is about that karma phala, not the karma.
It's like that abhyasa and vairagya, they have to go together. Do the abhyasa and let go.
Right.
Expecting validation itself, karma phala only.
Yes. Expecting validation is a karma phala.
So passion is the way to dispassion?
Yes, true passion is the one which ends in dispassion. Fruits into dispassion. Passion is the raw fruit, and then ripe one is dispassion.
You always say outgrow.
Yes, you outgrow the passion. Dispassion.
Outgrow.
Graduation.
I like that word.
It's pretty profound, actually.
Yeah.
Very concept is very profound. Being just, even Eckhart Tolle says about that very often. Eckhart Tolle, he's also says, who has written about the power of now and
Right.
new earth and all that. Yeah, he's also says that it's just the being which is more. He said that human being, that is what he says, that being human is what.
You also said this in Narada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, day before yesterday in some discussion somewhere I was telling that. The people go to all kinds of gods and temples and all that pray, but they have not even 1% of godliness in their activities. What's the use of such devotion? You have to bring in that godliness in your life. You have to have that compassion. Okay, I'll make a move.
Thank you.
Namaste, Raghuramji. Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Raghuramji.
Thank you, sir.